For as long as I can remember, they've been telling us to enjoy it while they're young, but our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy it? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time to make shift happen. You can be a happy mom. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess, I've been depressed, I've been overwhelmed, I've been to the bottom of the pits, and I've risen, I've grown, I've bloomed, and it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not a burden. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm, and so are you. Come with me. Let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown, accept your responsibility, change the effing world together. It's all in the way we choose to see it. I'm so glad you're here, friend. You're listening to Meant to Bloom with Brittany Clarkson. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to the Meant to Bloom podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Lucy Hutchings. She is the host of the Healthy Mama podcast, and she has a lot of really great tips for us today. And I cannot wait for you to meet her. Hi, Lucy.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about, who you are and your heart behind all this?
Awesome. Yes. So I am Lucy Hutchings. I am a registered dietitian, and I help busy moms with inflammation, with pain, with gut issues. I help them to work on their health by healing their gut using like an anti-inflammatory type of a diet so that they can get the energy back, lose weight, and get healthy and live their best life. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
That's amazing. You are exactly what I need in my life. These are the things that I know I need to do, and I never get around to doing them. So I am really glad we're doing this episode for my own personal benefit. um, so you've mentioned that you have this really great resource for the overwhelmed mamas who want to get healthy, me. And I'm just going to kind of give you the floor here to go ahead and talk about what does an overwhelmed mom need to do in order to get healthy in the most like simplified, let's keep it easy, let's make this something you'll actually do kind of a way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so when I work with people and in all of my content that I have out there, I focus on making things really realistic and simple and sustainable because I'm a busy mom. I have 3 kids, and I really find that health is very important. But how do you make it happen? How do you make both happen? Being a busy mom and keeping yourself healthy, though that's really difficult. And so I'm always trying to make it as simple and easy as possible. And I really, really do believe that it actually can happen. It can be both. You can be healthy and be that busy mom at the same time. So one of the first things that we kind of have to talk about and think about is what is causing us not to reach our goals. It's overwhelm. We're feeling really overwhelmed, and that prevents us from moving forward. So I have a handout for all of your listeners called Too Overwhelmed to Start and What to Do About It, because that's kind of one of the things that's stopping us. If you're thinking that getting healthy, working on your health, working on skin issues, gut issues, hormones, all those things, if you feel like that is a huge undertaking, then you're probably not going to start because it's just too overwhelming. And that's totally understandable. If you think that you have to change everything in your life, then why would you even want to do it? Why would you want to start? So,
Right. Yeah, where do you find the motivation and energy for that?
right. Exactly. Yeah. So I have some reasons why some of this overwhelm starts, or, where does it come from? Some of this overwhelming feeling of not wanting to get started on the health journey is because we get so many messages and it becomes so confusing. So where do you get all your health messages? You get it from the doctor or social media or magazines or, all different places. And they can be really conflicting and really confusing. And so that's a problem right there, because then you think, well, okay, I want to get healthy. I want to work on weight loss. I want to work on all these things, but I don't even know where to start because there's just so many different messages from so many different places. The other thing that happens that kind of prevents us from moving forward is that we get these unrealistic expectations. We want things to happen right now or yesterday. We want to, if we're dealing with a skin issue or we're dealing with digestive issues, whatever it is, it's like we want to make changes and then we want to see results right away. And it's like these unrealistic expectations. We have to be patient. We have to learn that it took a while to get to where we're at. It's going to take a while to, get better, get healthier, and implement these changes. And then some other areas of, reasons why we are too overwhelmed to really get started is because we have things like our critical self-talk inside of our head. So if we're just judging ourselves or we're berating ourselves for making poor choices, that's not going to help us to move forward. And then maybe we're too busy. That's another thing. If we're a busy, overwhelmed mom, then we're going to struggle to find time if we feel like it's a really big undertaking. And then there's this fear of failing. We don't want to start because what if we fail? There's just, so many things. But I do want to say that you are not a failure if you don't stop trying. So that's really important. Keep going, and then you will work through it. So those are my reasons why this holds people back.
Those are relatable, very relatable reasons. So yeah, I'm sure plenty of mamas listening are really resonating with that already. Like, yep, I feel too busy. Yep, I'm afraid to fail. Yep, it's overwhelming. Just the information we have access to that tells us different things. That alone has like paralyzed me on this journey before. So do you have what are the tips for overcoming this, moving forward?
Yes, there is absolutely a solution for this. For all of these things we can work through. So the first one, as far as, reducing this overwhelm and moving forward on your health journey, is limiting the noise. And what I mean by that is all the messages that we have coming to us, right? We talked about that there's so many messages. We talked about the fact that you're getting them from doctors, social media, magazines, books, everything all around you. You're getting all these messages. Well, if we could start paying attention and start limiting them and reducing some of that noise, some of those messages, that will help you to start. So messages like commercials, they have an agenda. They have a bottom line that they're trying to work on, right? They're trying to make money. So all these messages about different diets, different medications, different anything that they're trying to sell, different supplements, there's just so many things out there that they're trying to sell. Well, we can start by ignoring those commercials. Stop looking at them, stop watching them. I know that when there's a choice, when we're watching something on the internet, if we can pay the $1 or $2 to watch it without commercials, then it's worth it, just to reduce that noise in our lives. This time on social media, that's another place that you're going to get overwhelmed with the messages, because there's just so many people out there that, maybe don't even have any credentials that are providing all of this nutrition advice and health advice that sometimes is just really, really not helpful. So limiting who you follow, being careful who you're following on social media is another thing. Same thing with groups that you're in, maybe on social media. So, especially ones that promote diet culture. If you're in some kind of a weight loss group, that's a tricky one, because maybe that's your goal, but what types of information are they giving you? Are they promoting fad diets or crash diets? or some kind of limited restrictive eating. I'm really big on eating just whole natural foods, but doing it in a realistic way that's not restrictive and that makes sense for you and your family and for your kids. It's going to make it a whole lot worse if you're excluding a lot or if you're restricting a lot. That doesn't really help. So that's one of my first tips, is limiting that noise. So the next thing is making space for yourself and for your health journey. So if you look at your calendar or your schedule and you say, there's no way that I could work on my health journey right now because I am way too busy, that's a red flag right there that maybe you need to check that schedule and see what can be done about it, because that means you haven't left any space for yourself. If you don't have the ability to schedule in some you time, or schedule in some time to chop some extra vegetables, or to make a lunch for yourself the next day, or to go for a walk, that's where you need to look at your calendar and say, okay, what can I cut back on? What can I say no to? Because you need to make sure you're doing everything that you can to keep yourself healthy so that you can be there for everyone that needs you in your life. Sometimes people feel like that means they're putting themselves up on a pedestal, or they're being selfish because they're putting themselves first. But it's actually the opposite. If you want to be there for your kids and you want to have the energy and you want to have the ability to keep up with them, you need to put your health first in order to stay healthy, to be able to do those things with them.
Great. Like, I love that it's also bite-sized and simple, and it really is just getting to the root of like why you're overwhelmed so you can start taking some steps. Do you have like a recommended first step? Like, where should you start if you're trying to like go for the wellness stuff? Or should people just come connect with you and find you for like specific like questions? Or is there one place that's just like, okay, now that you know where to fix your overwhelm, what is like the next first thing to do?
Yes. That's a great question. And so what I usually tell people, and when I'm working with somebody one-on-one, our first step together is finding your why. Finding your big reason that motivates you to be on a health journey, or to work on your health. What is it? Is it, for a lot of people, they'll say, oh, well, I'm trying to lose weight. Well, that's not your big why. So you need to think beyond that, because that's not going to be enough motivation to keep you going. Because sometimes when you have to make health changes, it takes effort and it takes energy, and those things are in short supply, usually when you're a busy mom. And so when things get hard, it's easy to just give it up. Oh, well, I don't have time for a walk today, or, oh, I don't have time to chop extra vegetables or make a lunch. So if we really hone in on what the benefit is, that's when we can find that momentum and that motivation. So what some examples are, if you want to lose weight, what is the reason that you really do want to lose weight? Is it because you want to have more energy? Is that going to provide that energy? Or is it because you want to have more confidence? Do you feel like that's going to lead to more confidence? Or is it that you feel like it's going to give you maybe some pain in your knees, or pain that is happening because of the weight, right? So you have to figure out what's the real reason why you want to make those changes, and then write it down. Take some time to journal on this, write it down, and have it in the forefront of your mind at all times, so that when you're feeling like you don't want to go for that walk, or when you're feeling like you just don't want to put in the effort, you can remind yourself of that why. And that's really the first step, because otherwise it's just too easy to give up.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, this has been gold. I'm gonna leave it at this before we get into overwhelming, too many steps. Thank you so much for coming on today, Lucy, and giving us all these wonderful, wonderful tips and like insights into these first steps of seeking wellness, because it is so important. So where should my friends come and find more of you if they just need more from you?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. And thank you so much for having me on here. I think this is really a very important conversation for those busy moms out there that just don't want to take the time to, or feel like they can't take the time to take care of themselves. And my message really for them is that there is a way to do it in really small bite-sized steps. And if you're feeling like too overwhelmed to start, there are some things that you can do about it. So you can find me on the Healthy Mama podcast. You can, and that's anywhere you listen to your podcasts, you can find the Healthy Mama podcast. I also have a private group for busy moms that are working on inflammation and pain and on a health journey. So that's on Facebook, and we can put the link in there. And then basically both Instagram and Facebook. However, I definitely am on Facebook a lot more than Instagram. My handle is Lucy Hutchings RD.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Lucy.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Meant to Bloom. It really does mean the world to me. But are you ready to take this a step farther? Check out the description below of this episode and grab your mindset makeover. It's totally free, my gift to you. Then hop on Instagram and let me know what you thought of this episode. Tag me at Britt Clarkson, that's BritClarkson. If any part of this resonated with you, please let me know by tagging me or leave a review and share on social media so other mamas can find this too. If it helped you, it's going to help someone else. You're part of a movement now. Let's go.